Right now we're going to learn how to put a box together like this. So one thing that we could do is cut out all 4 long sides and the 2 short sides, and we can start by gluing sides together like this. However, when done this way, there's many joints to put together, so if we know in advance that this is the product that we want to make, there's a way that we can plan our sequence so that our cutting and craft are a little bit better. So, since we do know we're going to make a box like this, one thing that we can do is plan out our sequence. So, we know, for example, that this box has the 4 longer sides and the 2 squares. Let's name this one number 1, this side number 2, the far side 3, and this rectangle in the back 4. And then we have a top, and we have a bottom. So we can unfold this box to create the linear version. So we know this is side 1, which is next to side 2, next to side 3, and the last long side 4. We know that the top folds onto side 2 at its long edge. Top. And we know that the bottom folds onto side 2 at its other long edge. So these are all of our sides when we unfold the box. Now, because we're going to be cutting this out, another thing that we can do is add tabs for gluing purposes. So I'm going to add them here. There's many different ways of doing this. This is just one way that I find the most helpful. And you don't need to do tabs, but the tabs, again, are helpful for gluing. So we're going to go ahead and start making this shape. One thing that I like to do is line the corner of a new sheet of paper up with the cutting mat so that you always have linear edges. And then you want to use a metal straight edge, not a plastic ruler or your Mayline, because that'll destroy it. And we want to start drawing some guidelines in pencil. And I think it's okay to leave your pencil lines. I'm just going to use a mechanical pencil, but it's best if you can use a 2H or something a little bit harder. So we know that our first box is 2 inches. So I'm just going to use the cutting mat to line me up. And I'm also going to score very lightly. I always like to make a score before I make a cut anyways, because it just, when you make a cut without scoring, sometimes it's fine, but you can also slip and have less accurate cuts. All right, and then the last thing that we're going to do on this edge is add that last line for a tab, and we can cut it out. Okay. So I guess I can make it this way. 1, 2, 3 inches. I'll leave room for a tab. One, 2. and we can make the cut here. So again, we want to do one score and one cut. And the other thing is, when you're cutting, it helps to have a sharp blade. So I would recommend changing your blade as often as possible. If it's a dull blade, you'll know because the material will not cut as easy. You'll have some frayed edges. Also, you want to keep the blade relatively low to the paper like this. If you're cutting up like this, again, it's going to tear. So always keep it low, I find. Okay, so at the end here, I'm just going to draw quickly on the tabs. One, two, three. Okay, so around there. Oh, that's not where. It's at the edge here, here. Okay, so we have side 1, 2, 3, 4. We have the top, we have the bottom. So we know we're going to cut out these sides. All right, so I've already done that. This is what it'll look like when it's all cut out. Sides 1, 2, 3, 4. And we have the top and the bottom. So now that it looks like this, when we cut it out, or when we were drawing it on that original piece of paper, we already scored a lot of these lines. There might be some more lines to score if we missed any. Careful not to score too hard or you'll cut through. And the scoring makes it really easy to fold up. I like to fold each one over more than it will need to be for the cube. Okay. So now this will glue here, and then the other sides will tuck in, and you put the glue on the edges of the tabs, which will then attach in. Let's see. So without any glue, we can already see the form of the cube, and the edges are nice and smooth. It won't fall apart because there's only a few edges to glue. So that's the basics of it.